Greetings and welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of UC Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto, and joining me was, I think, my first guest when I did the UC Weekly News is my buddy Tom Arbuthnot. Tom just got back from Comsverse, so I want you to introduce yourself, make sure people know who you are, and then let's talk about it.
Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, so Tom Arbuthnot, I focus on Microsoft Teams, Empowering Cloud. We do lots of community research events. And as you say, just off the back of Comsverse, which is a really big UK event all around Teams and Microsoft.
So I definitely made the mistake earlier this year. So Comsverse and Comsv Next are two different things, right?
Yeah, kind of sister events in a way. They're both run by Microsoft MVPs and community, and they are genuine community events. So there's no full-time event organizer behind them. They're people giving their time to create these events. And yeah, they're getting to quite a scale as well. So Comsverse that we've just had was just shy of 700 people over 2 days in the UK. So it's starting to feel like a real, even though it's community and it's all community driven, like a real higher end conference and very focused on the Teams and M365 space.
Now, I know you're a celebrity, but when I was looking online at LinkedIn, there was this cutout of you full size that people were taking their pictures with.
Yeah, the event had a bit of a joke with me, Mark Vail there. They had me in the keynote speaking, and pre-keynote they'd set up like a Top Gear riff where they had my figures in the Top Gear, and later on they appeared around the event. So yeah, I was kind of cringing and surprised in equal measure, but it was quite funny.
Did you bring any of them home?
I didn't. One's in the audio code, and the other one is in the lab at BP. So they both got claimed.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, I don't know if I'd want a picture of me at home that big anyway,
I
but
don't think my wife would want one. One's
ah,
enough.
gotcha. Okay. What were the big themes to come out of the event?
Yeah, so I did quite a few sessions. I had a really interesting customer panel, which was all around AI and Copilot adoption. And I guess that is the headline. Even at a team-centric event, this AI conversation, Copilot conversation is penetrating everything, like both in modern work, in new ways of working, and to a lesser extent in the room conversation with room management, clever camera tech. So that's the first one. A bit closer to my and your heart in the kind of UC Teams roomy space. A lot of conversations around things we've talked about before. Everyone has a bar, like all the big vendors were there. And it was kind of a conversation of what differentiates you now. Like, is it portfolio? Is it support model? Is it, it's capabilities of your management, your OEM? Like it's almost a conversation I'm hearing now where nobody particularly cares like what resolution your camera is or how many mics you've got in your array. It's actually what's the experience differentiator, and it continues to be, I think, highly competitive in that space.
Have you was there more awareness of what MDEP is and whether that's an issue or importance to people using Teams and rooms?
The more vendors are starting to talk about it obviously now. So Yealink were there talking about it, Shaw were there as well. So they're starting to talk about it as they have kit come. I still don't think the typical customer is aware yet. Like there's not enough of a breadth of devices for it to be a conversation yet. I think as we see more devices come to market and those device manufacturers start to push, Max Hub were there, for example, showing their new bar, so again, new MDEP. So you're starting to see it come up from multiple vendors. I've been talking about it a lot on the podcast. I think it's an impact, and you have as well in the industry. But I think the end users, it's still early days.
Now, there were two impactful statements that came out of InfoComm that I don't know if you guys talked about. Let me just mention them briefly. One was, well, there were more than two, but two that are part of this conversation. One was Huddley's new C1, where
Mhm.
everybody and their brother have been making these warm, soft, fuzzy, curved cloth video bars. All of a sudden, they came out and said, "No, let's celebrate the technology." And they made, I can't even call it a video bar. I guess you have to call it a video box.
Box, yeah. It's like this, isn't
With
it?
these colored Lego fronts that you can put on and off with sharp corners, and they're showing the speakers and they're showing the camera. Was there any conversation around, hey, somebody finally breaking the mold, or that didn't show up very much there?
No, not particularly. I mean, I think it is most of the designs are much of muchness, and I don't think like we care about that stuff. But I think a lot of customers, it's like as long as it's not aesthetically ugly and it's functional, I think that's the main thing. It is nice to see some innovation though from people like Hudley.
It's not exactly innovation because it's where it used to be. Everything
Or is it
used to be soft.
retrovation?
Then we went fuzzy, so it's kind of retro. It's like retro
Yeah.
everything. The other thing that came out at the show that was really very interesting was Cisco released their new Room View Pan Tilt Zoom camera,
Yes.
which, it's a Cisco camera. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure the images are good. I'm sure the glass and the lens is fine. But the point is, it's a single RJ45 connector to do video over IP, to do control, power over Ethernet. You no longer have to put, electrical plugs and adapters or anything else in there. I assume that's going to start to penetrate the Microsoft community.
Yeah, they were at the show and they're making a really big push in the Microsoft community. So they're with their MTR mode and now, as you say, everything is over IP in their kit. So no external DSPs, everything is IP, everything's PoE, and they have these switches that can do super power through PoE. They can also demo two of those new cameras kind of running either side of a big screen, and with that PTZ and that level of zoom, they can get eye level contact even though it's a really big screen. So yeah, I'm hearing they're doing really well in terms of kind of units and mind share of this network first approach, and they push it into the whole power and money saving on power conversation, the environmental impact. So yeah, definitely they're definitely pushing.
Okay. So what were the big questions or the big concerns about AI that you had mentioned? What are people, are we still looking for productivity there, or are we competing?
Yeah, it was very good actually. I did a panel with three customers and no vendors, so it's very customer centric. Two in legal and one in entertainment. And Microsoft is pushing hard on the adopt it. It's amazing, obviously. They were all being a bit more pragmatic. Like they'd all done multi-thousand seats, so they'd done some real numbers, but they were still doing a percentage of their workforce. And it was lots of talk of you have to take user adoption really seriously. You can't throw this out there. And really, they one of the panelists had a stat where some regions had invested in user adoption and some hadn't, and it was a 4x improvement in usage based on the adoption. So they were essentially saying, if you're going down this road, and you probably are because AI is impacting everybody, be ready for the sustained effort of cultural change and adoption. And then the other conversation was Microsoft are pushing agents really heavily now, which is like the AI will do it for you. And there was a lot of excitement, but lots of concern over audit trail and sprawl and policy and enterprise management of these things. It's going to continue to be a theme throughout. Microsoft are just going to their FY26, and it's all going to be agents and AI, agents and AI. So it was really nice to hear a very honest, pragmatic view of where it's good and where there's still work to be done.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect definition of building the airplane while we're flying it. We've got it out there, but there's a whole bunch of things that are not resolved yet, and there's still a question from all the stats that I've seen, all the metrics that I've seen, whether anybody's getting any real value out of it, or if Microsoft's actually making any money with it.
Yeah, I think on the value, all three of these customers were convinced enough based on usage stats and feedback to continue buying additional seats, but not like if they're a 10,000 user org, they're at 2,000 seats kind of thing. So not we're going to blanket it. Like there needs to be use cases, there needs to be training. I'm pretty sure Microsoft aren't making any money on it. If you look at the billions spent on the data centers, there is a long road to recoup that, but they and all the other big tech firms seem confident at the moment that it's going to get better and better and they'll see the ROI. So jury's out, I guess, on, but they're all throwing even more money in it in the coming year.
Didn't we see that Microsoft had some additional layoffs recently that also impacted the team that's working on Copilot? It wasn't just non-AI shifting to AI.
Yeah, yeah, they've had a decent sized recent layoff recently, and it was across the entire company globally. So it wasn't targeting any particular. Sometimes we see it where they target a particular scenario, but it seemed to just be blanket. And we're hearing rumors there might be more. They're just going to their new FY starts July, and usually around that time of year we do see some changes. They will realign business units. They will say there are new roles over here because we want to push this thing or that thing. So it's fairly typical for this time of year. But it's people and it's jobs and it's always tough and yeah, definitely a tricky time across the whole of tech at the moment where all the big players seem to be aggressively cutting back, even if they're very profitable quarter on quarter.
Which is kind of a sad thing, but that's the world we're living in right now, at least for a while. Were there any other major stories or major themes to come out of the show?
No, I mean, Microsoft have broken the news that they're bringing the AI capabilities into the Teams Room Pro portal. So some of the kind of more hardcore customers and partners I was talking to at the show were interested in that. Right now, it's very read only, so it's like summarize what my environment is in terms of makes and models. Uh, how can I do a particular bit of configuration, but not doing it for you, just showing you how you can do it. But it feels like we're in an interesting journey now in the IT pro admin space where you can see where this goes. Potentially, I could tell the AI, oh, can you reboot all the rooms in this region, or can you run the update on these rooms in this order? So I'm really excited about the potential of not having to go through and go 7 layers deep on a UI to do firmware updates and things, and in a controlled manner have the AI kind of do some actions for me. So we'll see how quickly that comes to fruition.
And of course, with every powerful tool becomes the danger. Somebody could go in during the middle of a workday and tell all of the machines to reboot.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, in theory, they'd have exactly the same power to do it by hand, but they just would do it by typing. So you've given them that responsibility. So careful who you trust.
I haven't heard much since the last few bits of news around Microsoft Places. Was that a topic of conversation that came up there?
Yeah, actually, not very much. I don't think there was a session there. Microsoft have put out a fairly extensive roadmap now. So there's a UI coming for management, and there's a bunch of features coming. I think they've all slipped out to like July time. It seems like it's going to be a sustained theme for this year. I was at an event a couple of weeks ago where they went through the roadmap, and there's definitely investment there. A lot of customers are looking and waiting at the moment. I think they're like, it has potential. I just want to see bookable desks come through and this feature come through and this feature come through. I was with a bunch of legal customers and they were like, it's fine, but actually we need locker reservations and parking reservations and other bits and pieces. So I think Microsoft are hearing the feedback and slowly closing the gaps, and we'll see again how quickly they can meet those customer requirements.
Yeah, if Teams is building the plane while flying it, Places is sort of building the plane while it's still a roller skater or a scooter. It's not doesn't have wings.
Yeah, it's a room management slash environment management slash booking slash hybrid working. It's a big old space and there's some strong competitors in there. So yeah, Microsoft have all the potential with the rooms and the calendar and the interfaces. Let's see if they can execute.
Excellent. All right, so what's next for Tom? What are you doing next?
Yeah, so actually it's really nice now. I've got nothing big until UC Expo, which is October time. Looking forward to that. So got some big sessions there. We've got some Microsoft takeover sessions. But
And
the
this
next
is
few
UC
months,
Expo under a new showrunner, right? Tanya left this year.
yes, yeah. They've changed the team up a little bit. So yeah, it'll be same type of experience, but definitely they're doing some new things, which will be fun. Ignite will be the next big show in the US for me, the Microsoft show, but that's not till November. And I've got a couple of months now of getting my head down on. We've got various written pieces, white papers to do. You know how it goes. So it'll be a couple of months of writing and research, me, which I'm actually looking forward to. It's been a good event season, but it's nice to get your head down on the writing too.
Exactly. You'll spend a little bit of time at your desk and clean up on some of the old backlog tasks.
Yeah. There's a long list.
Give us a preview of we're right about at the time right now where you do your weekly, right? I'm sorry, your monthly
Yeah.
report. So what's going to be in this month's monthly report?
Yeah, so there's some interesting stuff happening actually, more kind of at Microsoft level. So they've released the researcher and analyst agents, and they've given us details of how the licensing works and the limitations on those. OpenAI have also released their integration to Office 365 and Microsoft 365. So I've been testing both side by side, which is quite interesting. And also Microsoft have talked about some kind of European local service, which is more of a server-based service, which I'm trying to dig into what that actually means because it seems to be a bit vague on what the detail is at the moment. So those are kind of some of the big areas I'm focused on for the next newsletter.
Awesome. So we'll keep this one short this week. Remind everybody how they can find out more about Empowering Cloud and sign up for your free newsletters.
Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, everything's at empowering.cloud. You can sign up there. Everything is free to access thanks to some great sponsors. And you'll get the newsletter. You get access to our community research and all our briefings. There's about 36 experts that have done briefings over there. So some really, hopefully, great useful content for you.
Tom, looking forward to seeing you in person again at some point, one day or another, whether it's
Yeah,
Ignite
we'll cross
or
paths for
Smart
sure.
Connect, we will. But great seeing you. Thanks for the update. And thank you very much for watching as you do every week. Just a quick update about the show that took place in Europe. We'll see you next week. Take care.